It's like a shark, NATO, except with poop.
Big, massive dumps.
Give me a break.
Stop with the questions. Celebrate.
And then they say, is Donald Trump an intellectual? Trust me, I'm like a smart person.
Yosemite's one of the wettest we've ever seen from the standpoint of water.
Mike Lindell's a conspiracy.
But you haven't.
Person, woman, man, camera, TV. They said nobody gets it in order. It's actually not that easy, but for me it was easy.
Amazing.
He can't sit down. He's got a burning in his butthole. He's got a fire. He's got a flame coming out of his butthole.
Big, massive dumps.
Oh, I have a term for that. I call it corporate communism.
Somebody sent me a thing this morning where they're talking about putting the vaccine into salad dressing.
You see, this is a simple meme that you would find on the internet, but this meme is very real.
You ain't seen nothing yet until you see the flaming butthole.
Putting us on our knees to China.
Now witness the firepower of this fully armed and operational battle station.
Sexual anarchy.
Around the nation, Waldorf Nation. What's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. It's a news day. It's Tuesday news day. Except that yesterday was also a news day, and tomorrow will also be a news day. And so it's a news week, even, but not the news week. I don't know where I'm going with this. All right. Anyway, weirdo start, but let's do it. One of those days. Welcome to the show, everybody. We're gonna have some fun. We have some interesting stories today, including a psychopastor. Well, actually, that's not interesting. That's scary and dangerous. We're gonna talk about that. It's Pastor Greg Locke coming back again to be covered. We have a Memecoin. So, crypto bros, you're gonna get mad at me, probably. And if you're a MAGA crypto bro, you're gonna be double mad. Because I'm going to call both of you stupid. And if you're one person who was both a MAGA chud and a crypto bro, you are in trouble. Chances are you've probably gotten screwed over by this. So we're going to talk about that. We have OAN, the good news. That should be fun. OAN failing. CNN Plus also failing. Lots of stuff going on here. And then, of course, we have dysfunction at the Texas Department of Family Health or Family Affairs, whatever that department, Family and Protective Services. Thank you. That is disastrous. That is a result, of course, of Greg Abbott's anti-trans law that is causing some problems with the department that is supposed to do these investigations. I'm going to get into all of those details. Again, super disastrous. And actually, there's some good that you could find in this. There's a little bit of a silver lining, at least when it comes to people and how much these people care about trans people. And so very interesting, disastrous stuff that we're going to talk about. A lot of stuff going on today. Also, a lot of you have mentioned, and I just found out about it as well, comedian Gilbert Gottfried, obviously well known for The Voice. You can't replicate that voice. Passed away at 67. Long illness, disastrous, and so of course that is to be noted. Hey, look, my childhood is dying one by one. Bob Saget, Louis Anderson, Gilbert Gottfried. They're either dying or going crypto, like John Stamos. If anything, dying's better than going crypto. So never go crypto. Never. Jimmy Fallon, I'm looking at you. Never go crypto. Norm Macdonald, another example of somebody, again, childhood passing away. So that sucks. This is what getting old is like. I am 38 years old, and my childhood is dropping off one by one. Not good. Not good. Thanks for that reminder of my mortality. Norm McDonald was sick and few knew. Feels like Gilbert in a similar situation. Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. Again, long illness. Don't know what it is. But it had it for a while. And yeah, that's unfortunate. So super, super unfortunate. All right. Anyway, let's get into more fun stuff. Speaking of crypto, I was into grunge, so my childhood started dying off when I was a teen. Fair point. Fair point. It's been all downhill since Robin Williams died. It's just been downhill. There's really no up. All down. Just all down. All down. All right, anyway. Let's talk about down. Speaking of line going down, we do have a fun stonks story. So let's do it. All right. Let's do this. Let's see. Investors in a meme-inspired cryptocurrency are not happy with the result of its performance. They appear to have lost a great deal of money and are not thrilled. And they have decided to file a lawsuit. So now, apparently, the Let's Go Brandon Bitcoin currency, cryptocurrency, whatever, is something that has been heavily promoted by right-wing influencers. So look, I'm gonna name some names. I'm gonna name who, talk about who's been pushing this currency. But let me just start out with just stating the obvious, right? If you invest in a meme coin, you're probably an idiot with too much money. That's my opinion. You can disagree. You can get mad at me in the comments, crypto bros. I don't care, right? Please have at it. Get mad at me while you're watching your stock plunge, because that's what's going on. Especially if you have invested in Let's Go Brandon coin. How dumb. And by the way, okay, let's go into the details here. So Let's Go Brandon, that's a euphemism for F Joe Biden. I don't know, anybody who wasn't aware of that, but just in case you were not, that's what it is. It was started at a NASCAR race, obviously. Brandon Brown, NASCAR driver. There was a reporter that was like, oh, they heard an F Joe Biden chant. Obviously classy, and it was like, oh, let's go Brandon. And so this became a meme online for the right wing. And basically a clearing call, I always found it kind of really dumb. Let's go Brandon. Why don't you just say fuck Joe Biden? Again, I'm a leftist. And so if you're going around screaming, let's go, let's go Brandon, I'm going to call you an idiot. If you're going around screaming, fuck Joe Biden, I'm going to be like, yeah, Okay, and yeah, great. Also, fuck Donald Trump. Why not both? Why not both? But okay. Now, look, this, popular meme, apparently somebody decided to capitalize on it because we live in capitalism, of course. And they start up this cryptocurrency because everybody's jumping into the crypto. And so you had these influencers that were pushing this, and the chuds that have bought into this coin as a result of that are now feeling a little bit of regret because they lost a whole bunch of money. Oops. Look, generally, right when you're being scammed shouldn't be that big of news. It happens every Tuesday, okay? Or every day. A right winger gets scammed by an influencer, by somebody. And look, they get scammed all the time, especially on election day. Because they actually make a choice to vote against their own best interests, especially economic interests. But anyway, nonetheless, let me get into the details of this lawsuit, right? So now attorneys for the plaintiff, an investor in the coin named Eric DeFord, claimed that the token's executives and insiders made false or misleading statements and disguised their control over the company. This lawsuit was 79 pages and filed in Florida, of course, and alleges that the insiders cynically marketed the LGB tokens. Could that just be shortened to LGBT? Oh, you see what I did there. To investors so that they could sell off their portion for a profit, even as the sell-off caused the value of the coin to drop precipitously for the remaining crypto holders. So now what they're describing right there is a classic pump and dump scheme. They pumped it up, they dumped it. You get in real cheap before launch or before everybody else knows about it or knows the information, or if it's just new, nobody knows a lot about this. And they do, and they get in there and then they spread or pay people to spread a bunch of hype, advertising, sometimes misleading advertising, mostly misleading advertising at this point, which would inflate, of course, the value of the stock, of the coin. And then you, as an early investor, you dump your stock. You sell it all. You sell it all off while it's high. And then as the value drops, the people that you sold it to, who paid a higher price for it, lose money, and they're left holding the bag. And you watch the shares plummet to oblivion while you count your money. Your real money, your actual money that you made from this, and not the fake money that the people are holding on to that has no value anymore. Great. So now influencers, very, very important to these schemes. They build up the hype for these these currencies, and again, this happens in other industries as well, but I'm just talking about crypto here specifically. But yes, there are examples of pump and dump schemes when it comes to the stock market. For example, Donald Trump's social media, the vehicle that he is funding his social media company, True Social, with, that seems to be another classic pump and dump scheme. And so look, we're talking about dumps.
Big, massive dumps.
Lots and lots of dumps. Okay.
Dumps.
And so, but again, this is what happens. This is how these scammers make all this money off people who don't know any better. So obviously, if you look, I think crypto's a scam. Okay, you can disagree with me, be like, oh, it's a future decentralized currency, you're just getting paid. Hey, but you know what? If I was getting paid, which I'm not, but if I was getting paid, I'd be getting paid in real money, not cryptos or NFTs. Just saying. At least my money is worth something. Well, who says it's worth something? You realize money, the entire concept is made up. Right? We as a society have assigned value to a dollar. So I guess, since we all agree that a dollar is valued to be a dollar, then I guess it's worth something. If we've all decided that crypto is worth nothing, because it is, well then, it's worth nothing. That's how economics works. Unfortunately, it's a made-up fiction, money is. Now, what isn't a made-up fiction, of course, is resources, but that's a longer discussion. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, now, the influencers, getting back to this, right? Now, the influencers that are being sued involve, I'm sorry, not just the influencers, but the list of defendants being sued here includes hedge fund manager James Kautulis, NASCAR itself, yes, NASCAR, and conservative media personality Candace Owens, and David Harris Jr. I don't know who that is, but I do know who Candace Owens is. And boy, am I not surprised to see that she is on this list. Now, I'm going to get to her. I've got some receipts to show that she's a scammer or grifter, and this is up her alley. But now, the Daily Beast also notes that some of Trumpland's most vocal influencers got behind the coin, and I don't know if they bought into it, but they certainly promoted it. I don't know if they were getting paid. It would seem like they would, but I don't know for sure, to be fair. Now, Owens and Harris, again, named in the lawsuit, but another person who did promote this was Donald Trump Jr., who on Twitter hawked the coin publicly. Here's what he tweeted. This ad has one purpose, and it's to let you know that free speech is about to make a major comeback. Stay tuned. At Let's Go, for Let's Go Coin, Trump wrote in an April 7th tweet that garnered over 30,000 likes. Now, he was not named in this lawsuit, which is interesting. Maybe it's just that, I don't know, somebody asked him to promote that tweet. I don't know, maybe he just reads whatever's in the prompt. Hey, Don Jr., can you tweet this out? Oh, sure, whatever. I don't know. But 30,000 likes. If I get 3,000 on likes on a tweet, I'm thrilled. But it's also because I have a small following, and I don't scam people with my account. Now, a source close to Trump Jr. with direct knowledge did tell the Daily Beast that Trump Jr. hasn't entered any financial agreement with the Let's Go Brandon coin. Now, there was an entity that almost got into a deal with the crypto meme currency, and that's NASCAR, who was being sued. Well, now that's interesting. Now, apparently they were in talks to become an official sponsor of Brandon Brown's NASCAR team, the cryptocurrency itself. Now, the deal was ultimately scrapped, which caused the token's price to fall, people to lose money, and the class action lawsuit claims that insiders made it worse by selling off their stakes, which, of course, made the price go down even further. And so, yeah. Now, the suit further alleges that NASCAR didn't adequately distance itself from the crypto token. So they didn't say, oh, we hate this token, get it away from us, this is terrible. But they also didn't promote it either, okay? Now, let me show you how far this fell. By February, the market value of this meme coin, the Let's Go Brandon coin, had fallen more than 99% from its peak, leading a group of its key players to hash out a plan to rebrand and relaunch. Yes, of course. The aggressive marketing strategy currently has not slowed. Last month, when former President Trump appeared on Harris's podcast, he was presented with, get this, $500 billion of new Let's Go tokens by Kautulis. 500 billion tokens, everybody. Wow. You could actually say for the first time, legitimately, that Donald Trump is a billionaire. He's got $500 billion, or I'm sorry, not dollars, 500 billion in Let's Go Brandon meme coin. How much is it worth, though, in real money? About $45,000. Oh my goodness. Disastrous. When he was given this, and it was funny because it shows how much or how little he knows. Here's what he said. Sounds good to me. I don't know exactly what it means, but it sounds good to me. Yeah, oh, yeah, no, this is a stable genius. This guy, very, very stable genius. You know what I'm saying?
Burmisia, they say, pronounce it Burmisia. A real beautiful company.
Very, very smart. Very intelligent person. Very intelligent.
Mike Pounds.
He knows exactly what this coin is. Yep, he knows the value. That's why he's a 500 billionaire in Memecoin. So now the lawsuit. Getting back to this, right? So now Catullus messaged the Daily Beast, and so here's drama. Lots of drama, fun drama. It got super personal. The plaintiff's behavior, said Catullus, is disturbing, almost like a stalker. Talking about the guy who's suing him. Catullus sent a document that showed apparent email exchanges between DeFord and other individuals affiliated with the coin back in February, in which DeFord said he was inspired by what this token can do for our nation and offered to help market the coin for free. One moment, he's praising our vision and offering to promote our coin. Now suddenly, he's filed a bizarre conspiracy claim. In a statement, a lawyer represented another plaintiff, Aaron Ziegler, sought to rebut Catullus' version of events. Again, drama. We are disappointed to learn that Mr. Catullus would resort to such a misleading characterization of the facts in this case of what appears to be a desperate attempt to continue to prop up the value of the token and to scare away other defrauded investors from seeking their day in court. Oof. That a litigant and a lawyer like Mr. Catullus would expose himself to potentially defamation claims and bar discipline in response to being named in a thoroughly researched and well-founded federal lawsuit is consistent with the same poor judgment alleged in the complaint. Candace Owens, let's go to her. She weighed in. She called the lawsuit a, quote, frivolous filing that borders on hilarity. For starters, I was not paid a single red cent to promote the LGB coin, she told the Daily Beast. Beyond that, I myself lost money on the coin, which removes me unequivocally from any notion of an inside pump and dump scheme. Harris did not immediately respond to the Daily Beast request for comment. Now, Candace Owens. There's nothing more that Candace Owens likes more than a good scam. She loves it. She was promoting colloidal silver on her show, on her website. You know, the stuff that turns you blue. You ingest too much of it, you literally become blue. You're like a Smurf. And she was doing so in lieu of vaccination. She was telling people, no, don't get vaccinated. Just take my colloidal silver. $19.99 plus shipping and handling. I mean, that's ridiculous and very, very dangerous that she's running these kind of scams. But she has a long history of running scams, something that I didn't know that she had done, but there was extensive reporting. Turns out last year she was hawking something called the Freedom Phone. Freedom Phone. It's do you remember Freedom Book? There was a supposed Facebook alternative that didn't do anything, that is probably gone by now, crashed, imploded, etc. Everything they launch, freedom. Freedom. Isn't it amazing? Freedom Phone. So now Freedom Phone, launched by a guy who basically rebranded a Chinese budget phone called the Umidigi A9 Pro, made by Chinese tech company Umidigi, and they took this $120 phone and marketed it as $500 for the same phone. Oh, but you don't understand. Candace Owens, see, she says, well, you got to get a Freedom Phone to fight against Apple and big tech. Oh, is that the case? Right. Now, she pushed this on her listeners. She claimed that she uses it. She does not. And she even made sure in tweets to include a special code for discounts when buying the phone. And she was busted posting tweets about the Freedom Phone. From where? Well, let's go to the picture here. So excited that I partnered with a solution against Apple and Google. Use Candace for 10% off your new Freedom Phone. Posted by Twitter for iPhone. Oops. Oh my God. Wow. Now, what's funny is that, look, Freedom Phone was preloaded with apps like Parler and Rumble. These apps, you could just download for free. Not really worth the huge markup. Oh, it also came with Media Network's One America News and Newsmax. Again, all free apps. But it does come with Fortnite pre-installed. I'm more of a PUBG guy myself, honestly. I never got into the Fortnite. Too much Minecraftiness in a shooting game. Not interested. Not interested. And by the way, you can also download that, I think, for free. Now, look, this is just one example of many of the scams Candace Owens has been pushing. She is essentially a grifter. I don't think she, I don't think she believes a damn thing that she says. She just doesn't. So when she claims that she is not paid to promote this, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. It makes me wonder, how much did they pay her? What is Candace Owens getting out of this? Because let's understand that this is the kind of people that they are. They're grifters. Grifters everywhere. Everywhere. And so, look, I'm not sorry. If you fell for the scam, I'm not sorry. I don't feel bad for you. I really, really don't. Again, crypto's scammy enough as it is. But right-wing meme crypto, you've got to be exceptionally stupid and gullible to invest, at least as a late investor, to the Let's Go Brandon coin. All because Candace Owens and a few right-wingers told you to do so. No, don't take advice from people, especially, from people who have been known to run scams or whose father has been known to run scams. If you're going to do anything, if you're going to do any investment, for one, don't invest more than you could afford to lose. I think that's very important. But also, don't invest in things that you don't know anything about because some influencer tells you to. It's the road to financial ruin if you do. And if it happens, again, that's on you, bro. That's on you. There have been other similar phone scams, taking a cheap phone and making it quote-unquote secure and or luxury. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Marketed as the LGB trans action. Oh, I get it. Well done. Well done. All right, let's move on. More dangerous stuff. Tennessee pastor Greg Locke is in the news again for saying insane things. In fact, at a rally on Monday, he told a crowd that he was going to authorize the use of guns against media figures or anybody playing quote-unquote Democrat games or spreading propaganda. I don't know what he means, but here, let's just let him explain.
And we have to stop compromising to the propaganda. So I say this and we volley back. One of the things we did to push back against the nonsense is not only put up the sign, but we told our folks we so believe in our First Amendment right to gather under this tent and to worship Jesus Christ, that if you show up with your propaganda machine and you try to impede on our First Amendment right, I said our boys will meet you at the door of this tent with our Second Amendment right, because we're not playing your Democrat games. This is a church, and we're going to stand.
Okay, I still don't understand what he's trying to say. Who's trying to interrupt your church? Who's trying to interrupt your gathering? And even so, that doesn't give you the authority to shoot someone. I don't understand where you think you get that authority to order people to shoot other people who might be using their First Amendment right. I believe in the First Amendment so much that I'm going to use my Second Amendment to shut down your First Amendment. Wait, what? I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense. By the way, you notice sitting back there, Roger Stone. Of course. Of course. And again, no real commentary to add there other than the fact that, oh, look, it's Roger Stone. Because of course. Just of course. But look, this is far-right fundamentalism. It doesn't have to make sense. It doesn't have to be logically consistent. He doesn't believe in the First Amendment. And nobody's there trying to, quote-unquote, impede your First Amendment. And by the way, what does it even look like? What does it even look like? What does he mean by Democrat games? Yes, are there people that come and film some of his sermons and post them online and to say, hey, look, that person's pretty crazy, right? Well, that's First Amendment. That's having an opinion. Are we not allowed to have an opinion? Are we not allowed to call you a psycho? Because that's what you're acting like. If you're talking about Second Amendment solutions, if you're talking about just, people who want to go, even step in foot into your church. Or impede, which, by the way, again, I don't even know what that means. I don't even know the context here. But holy crap. You just have an open call to violence. Yeah, if somebody comes into this church and does something that I don't like, or he makes noise, well, or plays quote-unquote Democrat games, which, again, I don't know what those are. What are the Democrat games? Are they like reindeer games? I don't, what does that even mean? No, it just means that anybody who comes to that church and maybe says something that I don't like, that personally offends me, I'm going to shoot them. That's what you're saying. That's what this guy is saying. Yeah, you are pushing violence. Yeah, you are a domestic terrorist. That's what you are. At least that's what you're promoting. Disgusting, completely unhinged, encouraging people to do violence. Imagine if it were a cleric named Muhammad, and he's over there saying, I have First Amendment, and I have First Amendment to come in here and pray to Allah. And if somebody comes in here, we have the First Amendment, that we will use our Second Amendment, because they would be American citizens, right? Muslims in America, hey, they have the same First Amendment rights that Pastor Locke has. No, the rights here would be on fire if a Muslim said the same thing, Muhammad, and say, well, if you try to impede my First Amendment religious rights, well, then we're going to use our Second Amendment rights against you. No, those people would, you know what would happen to that mosque? A drone would destroy it. That's what would happen. But when it comes to Pastor Greg Locke, we just completely ignore it. We completely ignore the warning signs, the people that are saying, this is what we want to do, this is what we intend to do. We want to do violence against people that we disagree with, that we think are impeding. And by the way, when it comes to it, can they ever really give a good example of how other people are impeding their religious liberty? The only examples that they give are people actually trying to live their own lives. Trans people, gay people. Just the existence of transgender people and gay people and people who are atheists or people who are other religions, Muslims, that's enough to offend them. That's enough to, send them into a frothing rage to where I can't believe we're being oppressed, that we can't oppress you, that you have a right to an abortion, your right to privacy. How dare you? No. We want to take away those rights because we think that's our right to oppress you. Fuck off. I'm not at all interested in your religion or your oppression. Shove it up your ass. There, I think I'm rather clear. All right, let's move on. Go to OAN. One American News reporters are jumping ship en masse following last week's news that DirecTV had dropped the far-right network from its cable lineup. Now, according to source material, the network is facing a full-blown existential crisis. To which I say, I love it. Good. Of course, they're saying something different.
Oh no!
Well, okay. So now let me give you the details, right? So now OAN owners Robert and Charles Herring recently hoped that they would force AT&T to keep them, and at one point begged other providers for a rescue. That rescue did not come, and as a result, many key staffers decided to jump ship, bail. Gone, we're out of here. We're out of here. I'm sorry, we got to go. Oh, there's no more money here. You know, good luck with that, sir. Good luck. Now, some examples here is Christina Bobb, a weekend host who moonlighted as former President Trump's insurrectionist attorney, ditched the network last month to work for Trump's PAC. Taking over for Bob as weekly briefing host is longtime OAN conspiracist Chanel Rian, who also co-founded an election-denying nonprofit with Bob. The former, or I should say former Trump Advisory Board panel member Natalie Harp, who debuted last year in primetime with The Real Story, ditched the network last month to work for Trump's, I'm sorry, that's going back to Christina Bobb here. No, she went in mid-March to go work for Trump, so there you go. Additionally, correspondent and producer Jessamine Wolk exited early last month to anchor a morning show for a local Louisiana news station. Oh, okay, great. Now, two people with knowledge of the situation further told social material that the White House correspondent Cameron Kinsey and producer Justin Adam Brown also recently jumped ship. So I don't know who any of these people are, which shows how much I watch OAN, which is like, not at all. Still, apparently that was enough to cripple the network. Now, Brown was executive producer of Dan Ball. Yes, Dan Ball, or Dan Balls. I'm a child. I know. I can't help myself. Okay. Dan Ball's show, Real America. It's just a Real America show with Dan Balls. But it's now at Newsmax. Now, Newsmax, by the way, is funny because they have a history of poaching OAN talent. Quote-unquote talent, by the way. Additionally, the network is litigating a $1 billion defamation suit filed by Dominion Voting Systems that was launched in August. So, look, none of this is a surprise. This network is in free fall. It's an absolute disaster. And by the way, DirecTV is, they are finally free to this contract. They chose not to renew their 5-year contract. So I didn't know this detail, but it turns out DirecTV never actually wanted OAN. In fact, OAN had to force itself on DirecTV via a lawsuit back in 2017. Obligating the satellite company to carry its programming as part of a settlement. Now, that settlement, that allowing them to be part of DirecTV was the only reason that it was able to survive. Without this, it's gone. The network's gone. And that's not my opinion either. An OAN accountant testified under oath back in 2019 that the value of OAN without contract with DirecTV would be how much? 0. Nothing. Absolutely, utterly worthless. Utterly worthless. It just shows how much Big Daddy Warbucks was carrying OAN. AT&T, again, they wanted to create a conservative network, rabidly pro-Trump, rabidly far-right extreme. Yes, more extreme than Fox News. And why? Well, it's because AT&T wanted tax cuts and deregulation, of course. And when you distract people with social issues, like, for example, trans people, LGBT, all this nonsense going on about Disney, etc., culture war extravaganza, well, then guess what? You make it so that people are distracted and they can't see these companies picking their pocket. Well, that's what's going on there. So now, a source familiar with the network told the Daily Beast that OAN had struggled to fully staff its operations in recent months. And that's it. It's not going to get better. I don't see anybody coming in to rescue OAN. It's over. It's spiraling down the drain. In fact, I don't think it's going to be very long until we're able to say this.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Down goes OAN? Not yet, but soon. No, but there's more. Go to CNN. Speaking of flops, it appears that CNN's newest venture into the streaming market, CNN Plus, is doing very poorly. In fact, CNN Plus is now pulling back after just 2 weeks. 2 weeks. Axios' Sarah Fisher reports that CNN initially planned investment in the streaming service of $1 billion in the first 4 years is likely to be cut by the hundreds of millions of dollars in response to a very low adoption rate. Not good. Sensor Tower estimates that CNN app installs grew only 33% to 70,000 in CNN Plus's first 6 days compared to the prior 6-day period. Notes an insider report from last week, which argued that CNN Plus has, quote, come out of the gate with more of a whimper than a bang. To date, around $300 million has been spent on the subscription service, which includes a sizable marketing investment, notes Fisher of CNN's investment in the streamer, $100 million of which was reportedly spent on a massive major ad blitz, which did nothing, by the way. So, congratulations. Wow. Now, Fisher details the expectations of the streamer, writing CNN executives with help from consulting firm McKinsey, we'll get back to them, originally expected to bring in about 2 million subscribers in the US in the service's first year, and 15 to 18 million after 4 years. She adds that with the expected cut in funding, those expectations are likely to be revised down. I would guess by a lot. A lot. Look, the notion that just 2 weeks of subscriber metrics, they write, would play an impact on scaling down operations of such a significant launch seems to defy standard marketing practices. Media has been told by a CNN insider that very few individuals within the network are even aware of actual subscriber numbers for the service that launched on March 28th. Look, they got problems. Lots and lots of problems. Amazing. Look at all that money. Look at all that money. Now, here's the thing. CNN has massive advantages. Legacy media. And despite those massive advantages of being a well-known legacy media, people are not interested in CNN's stupid little service. Now, why is that? It's because it's nothing but a cash grab. That's what it is. Why would anybody subscribe to this? You would literally have to be a Washington staffer Those are the only people that they marketed to, by the way. The only people that corporate media really appeals to at this point are people that are in Washington. And so, McKinsey said this, McKinsey, the consulting firm, former consulting firm of Pete Buttigieg. Oh, look at that. Oh, they've given such great advice. Oh, yes, because that's why we have President Buttigieg. Oh, right. But look, okay. Again, the question is, why would anybody want to? And there's no reason to. There's really no reason. And of course, I'll get to some of the stuff that it's missing here. In fact, a recent review by Vulture, getting ahead here, really exposes what a shameless cash grab this is. In fact, this is a $6 a month subscription, which, by the way, you basically add on to all the other streaming services that already exist, which does not give user any access to any daily or weekly CNN TV content, either live or on demand. So now you pay an extra $6 for CNN and you don't even get CNN. Oh, that's insane. It gets worse. From the Vulture review. You can watch Jake Tapper have a fun conversation with Dolly Parton on Jake Tapper's book club. Hey, look, let me just say, Dolly Parton's super based. She's awesome. But it's not worth paying CNN plus $6 a month for. Again, Dolly Parton, super based. And she's amazing and a working class hero. But no, sorry, I'm not going to pay for that. Okay, no. They also added that you can't stream his show on CNN Plus when it airs each weekday on TV or even the next day on demand. Well, Blitzer has a nightly CNN Plus program, but doesn't even try to but the Situation Room remains behind a CNN cable paywall. So you have to have cable if you want to watch CNN. If you're actually somebody that wants to watch Wolf Blitzer, which again, I'm sure maybe those people exist. I don't really know. I've never met somebody like that. But if they do, then don't get CNN Plus because you can't watch that. No, you have to watch them on actual cable news. And by the way, what's most perplexing is that all that CNN Plus not only fails to give users access to CNN, it does not even try to provide some sort of streaming equivalent of a 24/7 news service. So what's the point? What's the point? Well, there is no point. Again, now I read through this report and I mentioned, McKinsey, right? Now I talked about them during the primary. McKinsey is the consultant firm that Pete Buttigieg had worked for. So now McKinsey had clients which included ICE, opioid manufacturers, and authoritarian regimes. Oh, lovely. And apparently now CNN, which was giving them, apparently you were giving CNN Plus some stellar advice. Stellar. Way to go. Way to go. And again, the reason I'm talking about McKinsey, McKinsey is a wealthy consulting firm. These are the people that have put the idea into executives' heads that the American people love big corporate news, big corporate media entities, and would enthusiastically pay an extra $6 a month for CNN Plus, which doesn't even do basic things. No, nailed it. Well done. Well done. Now, again, it's really amazing how little cable news actually understands, how they don't get it. And again, they have all these advantages of being a legacy media outlet, and even with that, they still do not appeal to normal people, to regular people. And by the way, look, before YouTube rigged the game against independent creators, and yes, they did. They used the algorithms to shift what videos and what channels were recommended to people. And I can go through a long list of video creators that are, progressive, that have had basically no subscriber growth because their videos do not get spread out to other audiences, to new audiences. In fact, if you get through this entire video, very likely one of the recommendations is you're going to see there are videos not from other progressive creators, maybe one or two, but the majority are going to be for legacy media. You're going to have CNN, MSNBC, and yes, Fox News. And so that's what YouTube algorithms are recommending now. And it's all legacy media, all legacy media. And so, look, before that, before those changes, I remember back in the good old days, Pepperidge Farm remembers, when independent media was kicking the living shit out of corporate media on YouTube. Independent media videos with hundreds of thousands, millions of views, where CNN would struggle to get several thousand. But what happened? They changed the game. They had the money, legacy media had won, and now that situation has basically been reversed. And all of these different outlets do the same thing now, social media. And so that's what's going on. Now, as far as, again, recommendations to legacy, right? Well, at least with Fox News and MSNBC, you get opinion shows. And sometimes they can be pretty entertaining, especially Fox News, where they just have insanity 24/7. But CNN, what do you get from CNN? It's background noise. That's the only thing that I find from it. The only thing I get from CNN is just you put it on and you go to sleep, essentially. It's news actors, no emotion, no real opinion, I guess, no real perspective. Democrats say this, Republicans say that. I don't know, you decide. And the one thing that they push is how awesome the status quo actually is, which I disagree. Now let's go back to Jake Tapper to crap on progressives. Nobody cares. That's why CNN Plus is failing and will fail and will continue to spiral until it's gone. Okay. Whew. Moving on. One last story. Oh man, it's a long one. Yeah, I'm having some issues, by the way, with seeing the chat in my other app. So in my OBS window. So yeah, here we go. Moving on. Let's do it. Whoop. The agency overseeing enforcement of the recent Texas anti-trans law is seeing staff quit over these new rules. Now, under the new law, the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services has been tasked with investigating families of transgender children in order to assure that they have received no gender-affirming health care, and that families who aid their children in getting such care are guilty of child abuse. So understand that this is a disastrous law. Doctors, teachers, nurses, and others are now required by law to report instances of this to the Department of Family and Protective Services. So now people working there are not happy with this. Now, on the outside, Greg Abbott and his administration, they're defending the policy. They're saying, oh, we're just protecting children. We're all about protecting the children, unless they're trans. Then we're not going to protect the children. Oh, okay, great. Now, on the inside, the agency itself has seen a ton of turnover. Now, one worker, for example, Morgan Davis, a transgender man, joined the welfare agency as an investigator to be an advocate like the one he had never had growing up. Instead, well, until he quit, he was stuck investigating the very people that he had been wanting to advocate for. His supervisors had first offered to reassign some cases that were sent to him, involving this law. However, he said, no, that's okay. I'm still going to do it because maybe I can be there and be a force for good. You know, I'm going to show them that there's nothing to worry about and that, you know, you're valid and you're doing a good job and really to look out for the kids, right? So now he said, if somebody was going to do it, I'm glad it was me. Now the report, this is from the Texas Tribune, said he hoped that it would be reassuring to the family to see a transgender man doing this investigation. Now the family's lawyer of one of the families that he had been sent to investigate did not see it that way. In fact, here's what the lawyer said. Quote, I know your intentions are good, but by walking in that door as a representative for your state, you're saying, in a sense, that you condone this, that you agree with this. So now, Davis responded by saying, or telling the Tribune, quote, it hit me like a thunderbolt. It's true. By me being there for even a split second, a child could think that they've done something wrong. Davis resigned shortly after. Since the directive went into effect, each member of his 4-person unit has also put in their notices as well. So you're already seeing some pretty big resignations. In fact, more than half a dozen child abuse investigators had talked to the Texas Tribune and said that they have either resigned or are actively looking for another job as a result of what Greg Abbott had done. The employees, most of whom spoke on the condition of anonymity, say that they feel conflicted over this law, unwilling to undertake what they see as discriminatory investigations and critical of the agency's internal response to requests for guidance, but haunted by what a mass exodus of experienced child abuse investigators would mean for the state's most vulnerable children. So understand that there is no real, there's no good outcome here. So either you stay and do your job, but end up doing harm to the trans community, or leave and do harm to other children that are suffering actual child abuse by not being able to do investigations. So that's horrible. In fact, one supervisor said, things are already slipping through the cracks. We will see investigations that get closed where interventions could have occurred. And children will die in Texas. Now that's it. I mean, that's the point. Understand, for the far right, for transgender youth, that's the outcome that they're looking for. Trans youth that undergo gender-affirming care are much, much less likely to harm themselves, to have suicidal ideation. They grow up healthier, happier. But when they're denied this care, again, denied being who they are, then yes, that does increase instances and likelihood of them taking their own lives. That is killing children. You are killing children, trans children, but I guess they don't care. I guess they don't actually care unless that child is either unborn or cis and white. And that's really it, is what it is. So now, look, here's the thing. So the gender-affirming care, before I get too far, let me just point out what that is. Now, people conflate that with surgery, right? No, gender-affirming care really means using things as simple as using a child's name that they have chosen and their pronouns that they have chosen. So he, her, he, him. Or she, her, he, him, they, them. Okay? And, by the way, as far as medical stuff goes, reversible hormones and reversible puberty blockers. And so understand that there is no long-term harm being caused by this. These are completely reversible things. Now, you know what isn't reversible? Puberty. Male puberty for transgender women, for example, not reversible. Irreversible. Very, very difficult. And so you can't undo a lot of these changes, which is devastating to the mental health and well-being of a trans person as they grow up. And on that, gender-affirming care has been endorsed by all the major medical associations as the proper treatment for gender dysphoria. The distress somebody can feel when they're assigned sex does not align with their gender identity. So there's a mischaracterization here. And I say that lightly when it comes to this kind of care, when they're discussing this in the news. Because all you hear, for example, on Fox News, conservative media, and yes, even some left-wing media, you have people that, like J.K. Rowling, for example, that are saying, oh, you've got minors having surgery. No, that's not. That's not what's going on here. In fact, that's incredibly, extremely uncommon among transgender minors. Again, I think all of us can agree that no, we're not going to do that kind of surgery intervention on children. We're all against that. Now, as far as things like hormones and puberty blockers, well, that's different. Because again, these things are reversible so that if somebody ends up changing their mind later, then they can do that. And so that's the important point. And that's the thing that gets conflated all the time. That is gender affirming care. And that it should be available to minors. So again, because it is reversible and it's not harmful in the long term. So now, that said, there's a lot of steps here as well in transitioning, in doing a medical transition, a lot of rules that have to be followed. They're not cutting out people's junk willy-nilly, all right? That's not what's happening. Again, this is a long process that people have to go through that involves a lot of mental health screenings. So anyway, now the most damning part of this bill, other than, of course, going after trans people, is the fact that it turns Texans against each other. One person who made a report to Davis didn't want to do so, but felt compelled because they were afraid of the consequences of what would happen if they didn't report it to the state. Okay. Now, one person that Davis had recounted was sobbing on the phone, distraught that they had to report that family. They felt that they had to report that family or else they would get in legal trouble. They didn't want to get put in prison. They said to me, quote, "Just promise me that you'll be kind." When he visited the family, of course, there was nothing out of the ordinary. The house was clean, pantry stocked, the kids were healthy and happy. They were well loved, well cared for. And so when he was there, Davis was trying to be reassuring, reiterating again and again what a good job the parents were actually doing in raising their children in a safe and loving way. The family, however, was terrified. Quote, "It was just heartbreaking to me, to everyone, to see what we were doing, to see what we had become." Even though Davis had told the supervisor there was no evidence of abuse, an investigation into that family remains open to this day. An investigation into what? Into what? What abuse is going on there? What abuse? Gender affirming, that's all they're doing, is being good parents. You know what this is? This is 1984. This is big government. This is forcing people to report on each other, to narc on each other, because they're living in a way that the state doesn't like. Now, they're not harming anybody, not harming themselves. So what's going on? The irony here is just absolutely indescribable. Conservatives who constantly rail about the government. Big government. Oh, get out of our lives. Get out of our lives. They're over here cheering on a bill that tells the government to get right up in your life. Right in your life. Investigate your family. How dare they do gender affirming care? I'm not comfortable with that. So you need to get the government in there and get these people that are arrested for child abuse. No, it's disgusting. No, the only people they care about is white, straight, cisgender Christians. That's all they care about. They don't care about trans lives. To them, trans lives don't matter. LGBTQ plus lives don't matter. No. The only people these conservatives want to get out of the, I should say, these conservatives only want the government to get out of their lives, but into everybody else's. Disgusting. By the way, employees from the Travis County DFPS office, you know how they found out about this? from the news. They had to find out about this directive from the media. They were shocked and devastated to see their agency become this politicized. In fact, according to a meeting agenda reviewed by the Tribune, supervisors were told in a meeting that they needed to notify their chain of command when they received one of these cases. And that the agency's general counsel would be working on guidelines to determine how to rule on these cases. They don't even have guidelines yet. Several employees said that they were told to mark all the cases under Abbott's directive as sensitive, a rare designation, usually reserved for cases in which DFPS employees are personally involved. Again, weird. They were also instructed not to communicate about these cases in writing, a directive that was very unusual, employees say, and also added that it was unethical and risky. Investigators and supervisors also said they don't typically investigate cases if the only allegation is that a parent is giving their child medication prescribed by a doctor, which is, again, in the cases of gender-affirming care, is what happens. They're prescribed puberty blockers, hormones, by a doctor. And so this is medication that's prescribed and given to them. Nonetheless, no. They're said at this department to investigate in the cases where there is medication. Now, the agency usually only got involved in cases where there was the opposite problem, when the parent would not give their child prescribed medication. But here, we have the opposite. Okay? In fact, this is priority, again, in this situation, supervisors at the emergency staff meetings that they were told cases in which parents were providing the medically prescribed gender-affirming care to their children could not be marked as priority none, which means they had to be investigated, forced to be investigated. This is literally a direct contradiction of the policy, because we were telling parents we don't understand that that we do understand that a doctor is telling you to do this, but we don't like it, said one senior level supervisor. When people on the call pointed out that these cases would not meet the standards for physical or mental abuse or medical neglect as laid out in the code, they were told that policy would be generated at a later date to match the directives. One senior level supervisor said the response seemed to be basically do it now and the policy will catch up later and everything will be fine. No, everything will not be fine, because consider the families that will suffer. Consider the families that will suffer. And it's exactly what's happening. Now, as I mentioned, resignation. There's been resignations, there's more small acts of resistance, and this is the silver lining in this story, in a very, very dark, dark story indeed. Last week, DFPS workers from several offices signed on to an amicus brief condemning the order. Several Travis County staff members wore t-shirts proclaiming their support for trans children. Others have added subtle rainbows to their office decor. Randa Mullinex decided to leave the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services. She then reached out to the ACLU to see how she could help block the directive from being implemented, even if testified at a hearing from a lawsuit filed by the ACLU against the directive. When Mullinex returned to the office after testifying, she said her office door was covered in thank you notes and her email inbox was overflowing with gratitude from families, lawyers, and fellow DFPS members or employees. And while she appreciated that outpouring of support, she also, again, felt terrible because she was resigning. Because aside from all of this, the DFPS, like a lot of these agencies all over the country, overworked, understaffed, underfunded. In fact, here's what she said. I understood that things were going to get worse with me leaving. I'm leaving behind cases that have been reassigned 2 or 3 times and bounced around from supervisor to supervisor. But then added, do I trade my ethics and my morality? That's tough. The state is so far still dealing with the crisis of foster children without permanent placement who sleep in state offices, often for weeks at a time. Now, DFPS employees take turns, shifts, supervising these children. Supervisors did not get overtime for that work. They don't get paid for that, for taking care of these children. They said, somebody's got to do it. Somebody has to do it. We can't just leave these children in these offices alone. No, we have to. The state refuses to do nothing about that. But when it comes to harassing trans families of transgender children, of course, no, we got all the time and resources for that, for our culture war. And in addition to their existing, often overwhelming job duties, investigating some of the most heartbreaking, challenging cases of abuse and neglect, several employees said investigators at the Travis County office are often getting assigned 5 to 7 new cases a week, more than double what they say is recommended as a best practice, on top of an already gigantic pile of open cases. One senior level supervisor said, it's a very scary time here right now. You never know what you're going to come into the next day. If someone else is going to leave and you're going to have another 20 cases to reassign, or you're going to have to cover another unit because their supervisor left. And employees say they know better than anyone the potential consequence of overloaded investigators. Quote, they're letting go so many years of experience walk out the door, said another supervisor. And the ones who will leave are the ones who stand their ground and do the right thing. Once all those good staff leave, who will be left? I mean, and that's the other thing. That's just heartbreaking. Again, all credit to the people standing up against this piece of shit law. But then, who's going to take care of the children who are being abused as well? And that makes me worry. When those good people are gone, who's going to come in to replace them? Who's going to work for an agency like that that pushes this, that investigates trans families just for doing gender-affirming care? That's disturbing. I feel for the children not only being exposed to this horrible treatment by the state, simply for being transgender and their families, then you also for the kids who are losing out on help. Because so many people are forced to choose between doing their jobs, and this job that, again, includes now investigating families for doing nothing wrong because of Greg Abbott, or standing up for their morality against that and standing for trans children. Either way, you have children in the middle who are going to suffer as a result for this. More suffering that is absolutely needless, only in order to help Greg Abbott fight the culture wars so he can get reelected. So he could just be even more disgusting and hateful and bigoted to get more Republican votes. It's absolute cruelty. Disgusting. Again, you're investigating good people whose only crime was being a supportive and loving parent to a transgender youth. But apparently being a good parent is not allowed in Texas. And by the way, Texas isn't the only place. They want to spread this law all over the country. You want to talk about freedom? That's not freedom. All this is state-sponsored cruelty, bigotry, and oppression. That's what they stand for. Fuck Greg Abbott and his hateful, bigoted followers. You want me to work with those people? Oh, we can work together with the right-wingers on economic issues. Fuck you. I'm not working with anybody who wants to see transgender children die. If that's the kind of people you need to work with in order to get things done, I'd rather not get things done. I'd rather focus my energy in removing those bigots from power and then getting things done without them. We don't need to sell our souls and our morality for economic benefits. I'm not going to do it. So if you're going to suggest that to me, oh, but you understand, we can work and be with populist people. No, that's not a populist. You say you want to help people. Again, you say you want to represent the people and help all people. Well, you're not. And I'm not going to sacrifice this community, these wonderful people who've done nothing wrong, for a little bit of economic advancement. No, fuck that. No, the people pushing this law and agreeing with it, defending it, go to hell. It's where you belong. Rough show today. Real rough show. All right. Everybody, that's all I got. Again, way over. We went way over time today. So you got some overtime. Thank you for staying with me. Please like and share the stream if you haven't already. Very important that you do so. Again, this is the only way that we can get this message out. Without you all, wouldn't have a show. Wouldn't have a show. So I thank you all for this. And I really appreciate all of you. All right. Let me read some super chats and thank some of you for your support. Let's see. Yeah, a little bit of a spicy show today. Serious stuff. Very serious stuff. All right. We have Ronnie Lama Richardson, who says, halfway through the cancer treatment, stay on the good side of life. Ronnie Lama, I hope things are going well for you, man. I really hope that, you're going to beat this thing. My dad had cancer a few years ago. Thank goodness he's fine. He beat it. But man, was that scary. And so I don't understand what it's like to have it, but I do understand what it's like to have it touch your family. And it's devastating. And I hope the best for you. Let's just say that. I really hope the best for you. And I'm glad that watching the show, it helps you in some small way, enough for you to donate. I really appreciate it. All right. Gabby Mathis, thank you for the $5. And Addison Steele, thank you for the additional $5. Thank you. I really appreciate you, all you do for us out here. I'm with good people. I'm trying to defend good people. I'm trying to protect good people, be the best ally that I can. And I tell you what, I ain't perfect, but I'm going to do my damnedest to fight for justice, for people, and to protect you from these bigots and assholes and people that just want to destroy your life for no reason, for their hatred. Okay. And then basically the only thing that I can do is speak out against them and try to spread the truth about what's going on. All right. That's it. Thank you all. Love you so much. Really appreciate you. Let's do a Twitch raid, by the way. So stick around. We'll raid into Jordan Ewell. So that should be fun. And for everybody else, have a great day. We'll see you all tomorrow. And love you. And remember, change begins with you. Good night, nation. Have a great night.
I will eat your ass.
How you like that, boy? Oh, man, I'm sorry. Please clap.
Clean coal, meaning to take it out cold, they're going to clean it.
Disappointed!
They're kicking me out the door. They're kicking me out the door.